Hello and welcome to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. Rachael is a speaker, inspirational author, and an overcomer. As Rachael is walking through her own journey of grief, she's challenging others to persevere and overcome their own circumstances. Find out more at rachaelflick.com. Here now is your host, Rachael Flick.
Hey friends, welcome back to this week's episode of the Hopecast. Today I'm bringing you part 2 of my interview with my daughter, Eliana, who we all lovingly refer to as Lala, in her experience of losing her dad when she was 7 and what some of her grief journey has been like. That's a question that I get a lot, is how do you help your kids through grief and what are things that you can do that are helpful for them? And so she's going to bring her lived experience, expertise to the table and share her story with us. So, Eliana, welcome back to the Hopecast.
Thanks.
So glad to have you here.
Me too.
Yeah, at our dining room table.
At our dining room table.
Where
downstairs,
you live.
Where I live.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
glad that I can welcome you as a guest in your own home. Okay, so last week we kind of talked about some of the things that you remember, and you were pretty little, and your memories that you have, and some of the things that were important to you, and some of the things that were not, that maybe were important memories to me of that time, but that weren't something that really stood out to you. And so that was cool for me to hear as your mom, of just some of your experiences with that. So for this week's episode, I want to talk about some of the things that we did after your dad died to kind of help with grief. What do you remember of those different things?
I remember swankna, lots of swankna.
What is splankna for people who aren't familiar with it?
It's
a type of healing prayer.
Yep.
Where you go to hurtful memories and you kind of do some memory healing. So you remember splankna.
I remember splankna. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I remember doing like this book called My Grief Bubble Book. That did not help.
That didn't help?
Nope.
It was pretty intense because it had you like draw what you remembered. And you drew pictures of like the funeral and your dad in the casket and all of that stuff. And
I did.
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe it might have impacted you more than you remember, because you were very artistic. And so in times when it was hard for you to put things into words, you did a really good job with your grief in art.
Yeah, I did. I made a color chart.
Tell me about your color chart.
Because I have a hard time talking about how I feel. Like saying, I feel frustrated with this right now, or I'm scared. So I made a color chart for me and for my mom, and I would draw like a little color and it'd be like green means confused. And I'd come to my mom and be like, Mom, I feel green.
This was actually like a huge answer to prayer, because I felt really stuck in being able to help you process, because I would say, how do you feel? And you'd say, I don't know. And I would give you all these emotional options and you'd be like, I don't know. But then once you made the color chart, it was like we had a language of communication that didn't exist before.
Yeah. It's like when I like did things with my hands, like doing it helped me. Like coloring it or drawing it out or writing it out or using colors to tell how I feel really helped me.
Do you remember how you picked the colors? Because it wasn't like classic, like green with envy or blue means sad. Like you assigned like whatever you felt with that color.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. So I had my colored pencil jar and I just like put my hand and I grabbed pencil out and I thought of the first feeling I felt when I saw that color, and then I just write it down.
So cool. I love that. It really was very helpful. What are some of the other things that we did to help process? Do you remember doing horse therapy and horse camp?
That was horse therapy? That was trick riding camp.
It was, but being with horses is very therapeutic. And
I love horses.
I know. See, that's the thing. You didn't even know it was therapeutic.
I
liked it.
I didn't know that was therapeutic. I just thought I get to go ride horses.
And that was a real confidence builder. because you could get on this great big animal and be successful and learn all these new tricks and have a good time. And that we started 5 months after your dad died, I think was the first time.
5 months?
Yeah.
I thought
it was like in June after he died.
3 years.
No, you continue to do it each summer.
Yeah.
You did it multiple times. But the first time was when you were 7.
Huh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think some of these things, even if they're not super memorable as being helpful, I think that they've kind of laid down a foundation of who you have become that is healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't particularly like therapy. Do you remember going to different therapists?
Yeah.
What was your experience of that? Because you went to a few play therapists.
I liked that.
The playing.
I really liked that. But then we left because you didn't like that.
No,
Why did we leave then?
because we've been doing it for a couple years and we weren't making any progress.
Oh.
You liked the activities, but I don't think you liked the processing part of it. Didn't seem to connect for you like it did for Levi.
Yeah. I remember going to Jessica's.
Which was Blancna.
Blancna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I liked going to Jessica's.
Yeah, she was probably our favorite, wasn't she?
Yeah. I liked the
She was
snacks.
a gift. She liked the snacks. You know, she did an awesome job of building connection with you and Levi because she would bring
Yeah.
footballs to throw and coloring books and snacks for you each time. Like, she had your number. She was on target, and she didn't care that you ate like a little squirrel. Do you remember that? How you would like eat your little granola bar and it would crumble all down your shirt, and you were totally doing it to be funny and get attention. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw it out the window. And Jessica was like, it's fine. We'll clean it up later. That's
don't
probably
remember
not
that.
even something you remember.
Probably my most memorable time at Jessica's was when you figured out we had lice.
Oh, yeah. That was
She was just kind of like
grief
playing
trauma
with
for
my
sure.
hand, and we were like processing things. You know, my mom just like froze, and she's like, "Let's go in the light. I think you have lice." So she like picked her hair and picked through Levi's hair, and yep, sure enough, we have lice.
I think that that's a great opportunity to share like some of the complications of grief. Like, you lose the person that you love, and you have all the hard things that come with, you know, planning a funeral. And we moved because we were living with his parents. And so there was a lot of really big things happening in our life right then.
Mm-hmm.
But then you guys got lice, and it was everywhere, and we were trying to get rid of it, and it was so stressful. And I said, like, my epitaph, or the thing on my headstone, would say she survived the death of her husband only to succumb to a case of her children's lice, because it just felt like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, it was bad. That was really bad. Yeah, but we got through it. But I do remember that to be rather traumatizing. So what are some things that people did for you specifically as a kid that helped? And then I want to talk about some things that weren't helpful.
I don't remember a whole lot. I remember.
Do you remember people taking you places, or vacations, or trips, or going to K Kauai?
Oh, K Kauai. Like, that was so fun. I loved that. Not just like people taking me places, me and Levi, but like when we, like, as a family, like our new family, like the three of us going and do something together, it made it more normal to just be a family of 3 and not 4.
Mm-hmm.
And when people like would bring over their kids and we'd play for a while you like processed things with them.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a good like distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you could legitimately play. Like, you could go and check out like nothing had happened and go play with your friends and not think about your dad, right?
yeah.
And so it was nice when they offered us opportunities for you guys to be able to do that. What do you think of what the people did for us that was like pretty public? Did you feel supported by that? Like, in going and being in the parade of lights, like we were the marshals of the parade.
Oh, I remember that, sitting in the back of that
Sitting in the
convertible.
back of that convertible.
It was cold.
It was very cold that night.
Very cold.
Was it fun?
Yeah, I got to practice my princess wave.
Mm-hmm. And what about the rodeo? Do you remember going?
Oh, yeah, the Pikes
Speaker Bus
rodeo. That was fun. We got to like sit in that room and eat snacks and drink. Snacks really helped. I loved snacks.
Yes, it all started with cheese balls.
The cheese balls on the table. Yep. And I love animals. I like love them. So like any chance I got to like be with animals or ride horses or go to a farm or pet a goat or anything like that.
I remember Lori took you guys to see some ponies, and
Lori took us to a monster truck thing.
Uh-huh.
But me and Levi got kind of bored. And she's like, I know there's like a petting zoo around here. Do you want to do that? And we're like, yeah. So we went and saw some ponies and some goats and some sheep and some piggies, which that was fun.
Mm-hmm. That was very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we have to talk about the things that didn't help, the things that happened that were a bummer. And there have been some rough interactions with other kids. And that's probably, has that been one of the harder things? Or what do you think of ways that your peers or friends have interacted with you about losing your dad?
I don't know. It was like very like triggering then, but now that I think back on it, it was just like, well, they can suck it up. They were insecure and they took it out on me.
What's an example of that?
Well, there were some kids who bullied me and Levi for not having a dad. Like, if there was like a daddy-daughter dance, there's this kid who came up to me and she was like, I don't know, I think she was kind of curious, like, what I was going to do, because she knew that I didn't have a dad. But it was kind of like it felt more personal. She was like, so are you going to go to that dance or are you just going to stay home because you don't have a dad? And I don't know. I was like, that's the first time I thought about that. And I was like, I don't really know. But I went with my grandpa.
That was really shocking.
Yeah.
And that was like in February. I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks after he died. That was so fresh.
Yeah. I remember getting to wear that pink sparkly dress.
You got to wear the dress.
Dance.
The dress makes another appearance. What about kids that weren't necessarily curious but were truly being unkind?
There was this kid, and we did this blessing thing where our dads would come and say something that they loved about us, and they loved seeing like us growing. And there's this kid, he bullied us for not having a dad to talk about us. He would, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he didn't have a dad either, which was odd. So I think he was just taking that out on us, that he was like, oh, they don't get to do that either. So
I think that's really mature in your processing, Lala, that you can look and see their pain points that cause them to be unkind, and I can see how you're growing. I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
But in that moment, he just said, you don't have a dad. And it was gutting, right? Like, it was a huge sucker punch to have another kid make fun of you. And I don't think you even knew at that time that he didn't have a dad. You know, it was kind of like, as we talked about it later, it's like maybe he was also sad, and that if he, you know, kind of threw rocks at you, then he didn't have to be as sad for himself. But that's been a lot of processing. That's been a lot of work to come to that place. Yeah. Something happened with your friends this spring where somebody made a bad joke about your dad being dead. It wasn't a very appreciated or appropriate joke, and it really hurt you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
He made an inappropriate joke about my dad, and I didn't do anything then. He wasn't necessarily talking to me. He was talking to Levi, but I overheard it, and I was like, that's still my dad. That still counts towards me. But I didn't really do anything then. But like a few days later, I retaliated, and I did something, but I wasn't proud about it. But and then he retaliated back, and we went to the principal's office, and I talked about that. And then these kids bullied me on social media. They made a group chat about me. They put, like, on their Snapchat story, like, TBH Eliana, or who's your number one op?
What's TBH mean for our non-Gen Alpha audience?
To be honest.
To be honest. And
Which
what's
is
an
like,
op?
An op is like opposition. Like,
the bad guy? Is that too
could
general?
say that.
How else would you say it? It's a bad name, right?
Yeah.
It's hurtful.
It's like if you were to say, like, you don't want to be an op.
Got it.
Ops are, like, on the other side. Like, there's two sides, and they're on the other side, and nobody likes them. And that was my nickname for the rest of the year, op. And kids, like, they were like, why'd you even do that? That was such a L move or whatever. And I was like, I told them, and I was like, he made a joke about my dad, and I was triggered, and I went back at him for it. They're like, wasn't that like years ago? You should be over that by now. And that really hurt. And people, I'd walk like to groups to like talk with them, and they would ignore me and act like I wasn't there. And I cried myself to sleep a lot.
I'm so sorry, baby. I love you. It's been really hard. It's really hard as your mom to see people being unkind and hurtful towards you and not being able to protect you from that and grief, knowing that even if it would have been healthier to talk about it instead of retaliate, it makes a lot of sense that you retaliated. And the reality is that we don't get over Micah being dead. We don't get over your dad being dead. Like, you're going to miss him for the rest of your life. And it's never like, oh, we don't notice that person's gone. Just like you said, for you, it feels like he's only been gone a year, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, too, that I've noticed for you, just watching you and Levi grow up, is that the more you mature and grow, the more you have capacity to process different things about the loss of your dad. Like when you were younger, you might not have understood certain things about his death, but now, as you can think through a different level, it causes a different kind of hurt. Can you see that?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you notice that you miss about your dad now at this season in your life?
I know this isn't now, but in the future, I've always thought about him not being able to walk me down the aisle when I'm getting married, or have that daddy-daughter dance, or like teaching me like tips in like sports or something, or like no more Bob Ross on the couch, or no more sketching at the dining room table in the afternoon. And he'd wake up really early, and sometimes I'd wake up with him, and we'd make a smoothie for the week. And sometimes like he would make one for me too, and we'd just talk. And I don't get that anymore. I mean, I can make smoothies by myself, but it's just not the same. And I remember when I was real little, he would take me to ballet, and he would like watch me.
He would stay and watch you through the whole class.
Yeah.
At the time, I thought that was a little bit extra because you don't have to stay and watch your kids do the practice part, but I'm so glad that he did, because we just didn't know how little time that he had.
Yeah. Oh, and teaching me how to drive.
Yeah, I really thought that would be his job. I totally was planning on him teaching you how to drive. So Eliana, you are pretty experienced, having over 6 years of your own grief journey of processing and experiences with your friends and other people and adults and lots of kinds of therapy. So if somebody's listening and they want to know how they can help either their own kids or kids in their life, what is some advice that you would give them?
Okay, first I'm going to say for like parents who want to help their kids, spending lots of time together and like taking the opportunity to connect with them. Like, this is the first time I think you've ever asked me like my point of view on Daddy's death. And I guess like I've went through that in my head by myself, but I've never really like verbalized it to somebody else who's listening, and that did help, like just like talking about it, I guess. And after he died, like fun activities, like lots like of fun activities that helped like distract me and take my mind off it, and not really like I was having so much fun that I couldn't really
Sit and be sad.
even though that's important, and I definitely did sit and be sad. And having people to sit and be sad with also helped. And
When you say sit and be sad with, were those people talking to you? Were they just hanging out with you?
some of both. I didn't really like talking to people about that, but I don't know, that was just me. I wasn't very open about it to other people. I hated all those questions, and I would just like give them a short and sweet answer and be like, yeah, it's fine. I was sad. I was whatever. But I hated it. I don't know. But
Are you glad that they asked? Would you have preferred them not ask? Was it nice, or would you just like them?
depends who it was. There was a
Okay.
lot of people, like a lot of strangers asking me that, and I was like, I don't know you, and I don't want to talk to you. But like family members, sure, like that was fine. Or like I had to process that. I just didn't want to. But I did not want to process that with strangers who I've never seen in my life before.
Yeah, that's interesting for me to hear you say that, because that you didn't want to process, but you had to. Like, because I could see that you were in a lot of pain, that you were struggling, that things were hard, but then knowing like you were having an internal battle of like, obviously this emotion for me is huge, but I don't want to deal with it. And so you asking is necessary, but also a problem for your internal world.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other advice?
Yeah. For other people who just like want to help out, I didn't read the cards. There was thousands of cards sent to us. I didn't read them. And I only kept like one of the stuffed animals that I was given. Well, I kept like a lot of them, but only one really that I just saw and was like, ooh, that one's pretty. I like that. And
So what were the things that you received that you did like or did keep?
I kept, let's see.
And I did read the cards for everybody listening. I read all of them and I saved them.
All of them?
Yeah. I've got books and books of them in the storage downstairs.
Oh,
That's okay. You were 7. Nobody's
I was 7.
expecting you to read thousands of cards.
I couldn't even read. My brain. my
So
brain
they
is-
gave us different gifts. They gave us trips and opportunities. There was food. Like, what were some of the things that people practically did who didn't know us as well that were helpful?
Well, my favorite thing that we were offered, but we didn't keep, was
I know what you're going to say.
the dog.
They offered us a puppy the week that Micah died. I was like, I don't think that's what I need right now, although that's very nice.
Trips, like that Hawaii, that trip, that
That
was
was such a gift.
yeah. Like your shirt, Kauai heals everything. It does heal almost everything. It was amazing to be out there. I wish that I could like
Go back.
go back.
So maybe if there's a GoFundMe, putting some money in that towards an opportunity or a trip, because not very many people can gift you a trip to Hawaii,
Yeah.
but they might be able to do some of that. What about like gift cards for food or
Yes.
activities like the video game place that we have here in town, or go to the movies, stuff like that?
We still have some of the gift cards that people gave us.
We do.
And we used them. We do. And it's great. I don't know. Just like when we use them, I don't really, like, now I'm thinking back and I was like, somebody gave this to us like 6 years ago after Daddy died. And now I'm thinking about that. I'm like, wow.
Because you said one of the things that was helpful was for the three of us to spend time together.
Yeah.
And so those gift cards kind of like
Gave us
the
that
outing.
time
Yeah.
to go spend time together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So I have one more question for you. Okay. And it's kind of a big one. So how has losing your dad affected your relationship with God? What are some of the things that you've thought about him, or questions you wanted to ask, or things you've been angry about? Like, what's some of that process been like for you?
For like a long, long, long time, I was so angry. Like, super, like, those like stereotypical questions like, if you love me, God, why'd you do this to me? Or why'd you take him away? Or like all of that. And it's been really hard to like see God as like my father, because I don't have anything to like place that off of. And I know that he's better than any earthly father or anything an earthly father can do. But it's been hard to think about that and like be like, well, I don't really know what he can be better at if there's nothing to be better at.
Because you had such a good dad?
No, because I didn't have a dad. Like, I didn't, because I had him for 7 years, but it's like, you know, you don't really remember a whole lot when you're little.
So you couldn't really fathom God as a father because you didn't have that model for you.
I still can't really.
Yeah.
Like, it's been like a point of healing for me to see him as my father. And like when I was little, I don't know, I was little as a kid. I didn't really understand a whole lot of that. I was like, yeah, he died for me, whatever. And like when Dad died, it was like, oh, that's normal for father to die for me. So I didn't really see it as something special that God died for me, because it was like, oh, well, he died. Well, my dad died for me, so that just must be normal.
So you didn't really recognize it as like a sacrifice for you because you had made a sacrifice in losing your dad.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it took you a little bit more to connect with that from Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. That's very cool. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the things, because I know that you've grown in your relationship with God, and what are some things that have helped you heal? Because I know you and Levi both asked a lot, like, why would God allow this? Why would he allow this? And there's not really any like solid reason that I can say, well, it's because of this, right? And everybody who's grieving is asking that question.
Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that have helped you heal in your relationship with God?
Definitely like in the summers, like when I was off school and not doing sports, and I had time to think and I had time to process stuff, and I wasn't like stressed, and I wasn't like, I have to get my homework done before I can do this. I didn't really see God as a priority in my life, because I was like, well, why should I prioritize him if he like took my dad? Like, why should I just let him, like, I don't know,
Have that time,
Yeah.
have your attention.
Yeah, but definitely like time to think and time to process that. And like Desperation Conference, like that was huge for me the first year I went. Just like being surrounded by like tons of people who are grieving, have been grieving, and just hearing those speakers talk and like really touch my heart. in like Christian camps and Christian conferences and like time to be with people who really love the Lord and really like want to put that on me and
So
really
other people who are seeking Jesus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now like when I see other like kids who kind of going through the thing that I went through, it's like easier for me to connect with them. And like since they're asking the questions I used to ask, like I can get through to them better, like other than the people who are just like, yeah, well, you're sad, I'll comfort you or whatever. But I'm like, I don't know, it's just easier to connect with those people.
Your story has authority because you've lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not
Kind of
just
an
like
expert.
a good idea. You are kind of an expert. Absolutely. So you can say, this is what I've experienced and here's how I can help you. That's meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of what a leader you've become to others. Lala, you've done such a good job today.
Thanks.
You're welcome. This was really special for me to get to hear this from your perspective. And it sounds like you did a little processing.
Myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to talk later about maybe what you learned that you didn't know before you talked about it. Well, Lala, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm really glad that you got to be on the Hopecast with me, that I got to be on the Hopecast with you. And
At my dining room
at
table.
your
at
dining
my
room table.
house.
Yes.
You're my guest.
That's right. So friends, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Hopecast. I hope that Eliana's authenticity and her sincere processing in her experiences and her relationship with the Lord blesses you as much as it has blessed me. And hopefully you can encourage and support some families and some people in your own life who can relate to this loss as well. Friends, would you rate, review, and subscribe to the Hopecast? It helps us put the message of hope and light before more people so that they can hear these stories and be encouraged by overcomers. Friends, this has been the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.
You've been listening to the Hopecast with Rachael Flick. To find out more, go to rachaelflick.com. While you're there, you can book Rachael for your next speaking engagement. Her inspiring message will be sure to engage and touch the heart of your audience at your next conference, church event, or business function. Go to rachaelflick.com to book her today. While you're online, you can discover more information about all of the platforms that this podcast is on. Also, be sure to click on the social media icons at the top of the page, and you will be directed to Rachael's social media sites. If you listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, we would appreciate if you would subscribe and leave us a review. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Hopecast with Rachael Flick.